Hello again, everybody. Rick Zolzer with your Hudson Valley Renegades. And it's very exciting because can you smell that? It's baseball. The big boys are getting started tomorrow, and we're going to be getting started in a little more than a month. And we are absolutely excited. You know, we did a bunch of these Facebook Live, Zoom slash YouTube type videos during the pandemic. And we figured, you know what? We need to have you guys meet our new manager because everything I've heard is what a great guy he is. Dan, welcome to the Hudson Valley Renegades. Dan Fiorito from Yonkers, played his college ball in Manhattanville, played with the Yankees in the farm system for about 4 years, and he's going to be our brand new skipper. Dan, welcome.
Rick, thanks so much. Obviously excited, really excited to get going and meet all the fans up in Hudson Valley, and we should hopefully have a great season.
All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to kind of find out who you are first, you know, your journey to got you into the Yankee organization, and then talk about what kind of manager you're going to be, what you look for in your players, and that sort of thing. We'll have you, maybe we'll get some comments from the fans. Fans, if you have questions, all you got to do is put it in the Facebook comment section, and then someone will text me those questions because I can't get Facebook Live while I'm doing this. So if you got anything you want to say or want to ask, providing it's not stupid, I'll be happy to ask Dan on your behalf, and we can get the program going. So here's bottom line. Danny, there's no doubt if you play baseball in college, you're obviously an athlete. That doesn't happen accidentally. It means you were probably an athletic kid. So tell me something about you as a kid and your connection to sports.
Yeah, so I got into baseball or all sports at a young age. Just enjoyed being out there, just being with teammates, and just always loved being outside playing sports. I played baseball, hockey, basketball, soccer. I played every sport as a kid, and then in high school, I basically just started playing baseball though.
So at what point in high school, when you started playing, did you think maybe I got something here? I can play at the next level. When I mean the next level, I don't mean get drafted, go to the big leagues. I mean play baseball in college, get bigger, get stronger, get better, and then maybe end up someone picking you up.
You know, it's tough. I think like as a kid, I think especially as a high schooler, right? You just want to try and maximize your potential and your talent. And I think it was probably my junior, senior year, I started getting some interest from some local D1 colleges. And then Manhattanville was like obviously where I ended up, as you said earlier. But I think it kind of took until that to realize that, you know, this is going to happen. I'm going to play college baseball. But at that point, the goal for me was to just play college baseball, to get on a team for a team and a coach to want me there. And luckily it worked out in Manhattanville. But you know, then once you're in college, then the next goal is, let me see if I can play pro ball. And I think, you know, things kind of evolved from there.
I heard from a couple of my scouting reports that I did on you when I talked to some people that are friends of your college coach. And I asked them basically, and they said they've met you through your coach a couple of times, that you wouldn't remember them. So if I said their name, you would go, yeah, okay, whatever. But they've all said the same thing. A, you could play. B, you were a leader. C, you were no nonsense whatsoever. And that you're a great guy and that people are drawn to you. As a leader, I got to believe that quality of people being drawn to you makes your job that much easier to be a leader.
For sure. I think, well, thanks for the compliments. I'm glad you're hearing good things about me up there. But yeah, I think as far as just being a leader, that's something that for me, that's like I don't know if this goes for everybody, but it takes a lot of work. I don't think people are born leaders. I think it's something that you got to put a lot of work into, and something that throughout my career, and especially as a player, I think that's like steps that I've definitely tried to take. I remember like as a freshman at Manhattanville, just learning from the upperclassmen that I had there, as along with Jeff Caulfield, my coach, and all my other coaches there. So that was something that I definitely tried to pay more attention to in my career. And, you know, fortunately, I think it paid dividends in me now being a manager and actually a coach.
So how you play your time at Manhattanville, you're good enough to get noticed. You end up being a free agent. You get signed by the Yanks. What was it like that first at bat as a professional when you heard your name on the PA speakers, and how nervous were you when you got in the box?
Yeah, I was nervous, but I think the whole situation with the Yankees was surreal, especially me growing up a Yankee fan. I had my first workout in Yankee Stadium. That was, you know, it was wild. Just taking batting practice there, playing in the game, and then fortunately I signed as a free agent. I was hoping to get drafted that year. It didn't work out, but everything kind of happened for a reason, and obviously wound up in an unbelievable situation. Started playing with the Yanks, and Yeah, my first year I played in high A actually. Was my first game, and that was under Louis Soho was my manager. Of like a, as a kid, I
Yankee
remember
fan?
him playing on the
Yeah.
dynasty team. It was crazy, but I learned a ton from him. And yeah, that first at bat definitely jitters. You kind of feel your back leg shaking in the box a little bit, but it was a blast.
Were you sitting dead red and hoping that somebody'd make a mistake and you could hump on it?
Oh yeah, that's I think especially that first at bat, kind of just being probably a little bit more aggressive than anything. Kind of just want to go up there, kind of just put the ball in play. Hopefully hit a hard line drive and take it from there. Gotta get the career rolling.
And so what did you do in your first at bat?
First at bat, to be honest, I forget about I think I hit a base hit in the sixth hole, kind of like a ground
Come on,
ball.
man. If you got a base hit your first at bat, you're definitely going to remember that. Come on.
I forget if it was my first at bat or my second, but that was my first hit. I do remember that.
So you're playing for a great manager. And, I tried to say a minute ago that Yankee fans love Louis Soho. He looked like a guy that was sitting in a bar outside of Yankee Stadium. All those bars are out there and having a beer. He did not look like the athletes today, but man, somehow he always found a way to get the clutch hit, to make the play. Yankee fans love that guy. And it had to be awesome to learn from him as your first professional manager.
Yeah, that was great. I think Louis, like one of the biggest things Louis taught me was just like in the game, the attention to detail, always being in the right spot at the right time. And those are things that meant that went a long way with me in my career because especially as my career progressed, I became more of a utility type player, the exact role that Louis Soho was in. So just being able to learn first, second, short, third, and all the different positions was invaluable in my career. And I think that just being in the right spot at the right time and just being a great teammate, all the great qualities that make a great utility player, I think kind of in the end also make a great coach.
Was it Louis who said to you that maybe you ought to learn to do these things because it makes you that much more valuable and you might get noticed and moved up quicker?
Yeah, Louis was the first one, so I had signed as a shortstop, and then Louis brought up me playing second base and third base, and also then eventually I wound up playing first base. I think a little bit in Tampa that year as well. But he was the first one who kind of brought it up, and he said like this is going to be a great way for you to just gain more opportunities and more playing time. I'll say like if I need a guy to spill some games at second base, if a guy gets hurt, you can maybe go play third, and it was a way to get me in the lineup a little bit more, and it helped lengthen my career and I think for all players, you just want as many opportunities as possible. And for me, playing the multiple positions was definitely helpful.
So as you move up the ladder as a professional, um, I read that you ended up in spring training in Major League Camp. And what is that like when you walk through the door as a minor leaguer and now you're with the major league guys, even though it's spring training?
Yeah, that when you're over there, you want to act as though you've been there before, but you clearly haven't. So I think going over there my first time, just fortunately I had players on that side that were already like in the big leagues or were top prospects for us that had been in camp for the whole time. So they kind of have like a little comfort level going over and talking to them. But that first day over, I remember just like, walking past Joe Girardi and all the coaching staff, a lot of guys that I have watched on TV for so long. So it's just, it's a lot when you first go over there, but just like anything, after you do it for a day, it kind of just becomes just like a normal situation where you're going in and getting your work in and just trying to make the most of the opportunity.
So at what point did they decide for you, or did you decide for you that maybe I'm not going to make it as a player? I need to transition to being on the other side. How did that come about?
So yeah, the Yankees actually made the decision for me. I just like most players, like you're in the minor leagues. Your goal is to make it to the big leagues. You want to be a big league player. I think like for me, it was always like I'm gonna play as long as I can until the team just rips the jersey off my back, and then your career is over. But for me, I was really fortunate where I had coaches on the minor league side that were pulling for me, and they said like, no, now's the time. I kind of always in the back of my mind wanted to coach. I just didn't know when the right time would be. But it came in 2017 spring training, and that was kind of wild. I remember one day basically I just went into the front office they told me, hey, like this is where we're at. Like we want you to coach. You know, your playing career is over, and obviously that was kind of hard to hear, really hard to hear. But the next day, I remember walking into the coaches clubhouse and starting a new career there, and obviously I'm loving it. I think just staying in the baseball world and being able to impact the younger kids now, it's been a blast so far.
So obviously you're a teacher.
Yes. Yep. Teacher. Actually went to my schooling too for phys ed. So just like my whole background is teaching, and yeah, I've enjoyed it.
So at this level, and it's high A, which means it's the highest level of A ball. Pretty much, if you're playing high A on any team, the organization thinks highly of you. Whether you're on the list that you're a 10 or a 1, they think highly of you, that there's something there. So how much actual teaching do you get to do with these guys once they've reached that level?
I think there's a lot of teaching to be done. I think one thing that's definitely nice is that the players, especially at the older levels, just know more about, like, as far as like character makeup, being a professional. They know the ropes at this point. So that's something that you don't have to kind of address as much with the older guys that have been in the system for longer. But I think as far as teaching and coaching, it's just obviously it's just a little bit more advanced in the way the instruction is going to be given to those guys. But I think even at the big league level, like every player is always something to get better at. And I think the biggest thing is between the low levels of rookie ball to now, the guys are just a little bit more polished. But if they were as good as they could be right now, they'd be in the big league. So there's obviously room for growth.
So let's talk about the difference, so fans have an idea. For the last 28 years, minus last year, of course, they've watched short season New York Penn League baseball, where the majority of the kids are college kids who get drafted that June, and they come to us and it's their first step as professionals. So what's the difference, not in the kid and their makeup, but the actual baseball that the fans are going to see? What can they look for to explain the difference between New York Penn League short season and high season, long season A?
I think the biggest thing for me, I can speak from like my playing experience, from just a jump from playing down at low rookie ball to then high A, was just the speed of the game. The game is just faster. I think guys get down the line faster. Pitchers throw harder. Pitchers have better off-speed pitches, and they're able to use it in different counts. I think the mindset of all players is just a little bit more advanced, whether it's hitters' approaches or how pitchers want to attack the hitters. So I think everything just kind of just takes us like a big step up. And I think that every level you go up, it just gets a little bit better and better.
So at this level, are you playing each game to win, or are you still playing to teach the game to the guys and make them understand the Yankee way?
I think it's a combination of both. I think if we go out there and understand the Yankee way, I think so much of the Yankee way is also not only on the field, but a lot of it's off the field as well. So that's something we're always working towards. But if we go out there and just try and get a little bit better and try and do little things on the field every day, which is part of our development, like the game, we will win games. And I think that's like the easiest way to describe it for you. But obviously we want to go out and win. I mean, the development is so important. Like at the end of the day, I want to see all the guys that we coach this year someday in the big leagues. But we also want to win, because when you lose, it's not fun. So seasons aren't fun. So the winning is important to us.
Well, I could tell you a discussion I had with an early Renegades manager who I won't name. He said to me that sometimes the fans get mad at me and they boo me when I will take, say, a guy who's one of our higher picks, and they want to find out what he has in his heart. And it'll be a single to left field, and he'll send him just to check what kind of kid he is. And when normally he may not send him in a normal baseball circumstance, that was the New York Penn League. If a kid gets in trouble pitching, they want to see if he can pitch out of it, where it was more developmental. And if you win, that's a good thing. But it sounds like at this level, at high A, development's a part of it, but winning is more important than it was in the New York Penn League.
I think development and winning, I mean, they're both super important. I think at the end of the day, we're trying to develop players to go play for the New York Yankees, a championship caliber team. So I think the winning aspect, like players need to learn that. But that's also part of their development. I think it's such a tricky subject, and I think as player development we talk about it all the time because we invest so much into the players, whether it's achieving their certain objectives or just getting better on the field and whatever it is. At the end of the day, we want them to be in the best position possible to go up to the big leagues and help our big league team win.
Well, and now there's more data collected on every player and everything they do than ever before. That data has become so important, and that's also a part of your job and your coach's job is to assimilate all that data and try to grow a picture of each kid. So there's the that part of the game rather than looking at a kid and saying he's special. Now the data is going to say yes he is or no he's not. So data and the collection of that data is also very important to what you as a coaching staff have to do with each one of these kids now.
Yes, the data. I think it's the biggest change that I've seen from when I played, and I just finished playing like 5 years ago. So like the data right now is everywhere. The analytics, we have our department is unbelievable. The information that these players are privy to now, it can only help their careers. But I think that's part of our job as coaches is how to process that, process the information and all the data and use it to kind of to help the players and facilitate their careers moving forward. Like you said, sometimes it can be a lot. So the players need to understand, what is the most useful, what will really impact them. And I think, like you also said it, the numbers kind of make things very transparent for the players. Like they can see where they stand and what they need to improve on.
So it's not a matter of you just saying it anymore. When you say it, you can back it up with data. And then there's no argument from the kid. He realized that, okay, Skipper said I need to do this, and the numbers scream that I need to do this. So now I would think it makes your job easier because now they see the real numbers, the raw data, and it's obvious. So it's like, listen, if you want to get to the next level, you better figure out how to do exactly what we're talking about and exactly what the numbers say.
Exactly. I think the easiest way, like for as a player, how nice it must be to have objective feedback. I think that's everything. Whereas for so long, you always relied on your coach's word, and I think the coach's words usually always right. But now you actually have the data to back it up. It just makes things even more clear for the players as they move forward. And I think the biggest thing is you want the players to be 100% bought into whatever change or whatever adjustment we're trying to make in their careers, because at the end of the day, it's their careers and their livelihood on the line. So all the tech and that the Yankees have poured so much money into technology for us, and our analytic department is unbelievable. I think all those little things help so much for our guys.
Yeah, well, we've seen all the toys that are coming for your tech and how they're going to collect it, and it's pretty mind-boggling. It's impressive. So you're going to have all the tools at your disposal. Let's talk a little bit about you as a manager. I assume that you've taken all the guys you've played for as you've gone up the ladder, and you've kind of picked the best of all of them, and you're going to kind of ignore the worst of all of them. What kind of manager are you going to be?
I think I'm a manager that, well, first off, yeah, definitely every manager I had something that I learned from. And, at times there's stuff that, maybe you may not like it with, in certain situations, but I was fortunate to play for some unbelievable managers. And I think the biggest thing that all of them did was kind of just let me be myself. They push you to obviously get better every day. And that's something that I just want from my guys when we're out there, and from the coaching staff to just, be hungry, get after it, just a ton of energy, and obviously just be great teammates also. I think that's something that I learned a lot in my career, and it's not something that's easily done. It's something that takes a lot of work. So something that I'm definitely going to ask for my guys. But at the end of the day, when they're in between the lines, just getting after it, playing the game the right way, I think things will take care of themselves on the field.
I'm assuming you haven't even seen the kids yet because they're not there yet, correct?
The kids are down here in Tampa. We haven't started up yet officially. We've been going through COVID protocols and whatnot, but obviously really excited to see them. It's been, last year we had a short spring training. I want to say we were only in here for a few weeks. So a lot of these kids have been itching to play. I think it's been about probably a year and a half since they played a real game, going back to probably September of 2019. So these kids have put so much time in. So I really can't wait to see all the work they've put in, see where they're at right now, and obviously can't wait to get them out into the field and doing what they love to do.
Well, just so the fans know that had there been a season last year, you would have been the skipper at Staten Island.
Yeah, I was looking forward to that. Stan, things didn't work out there last year, but obviously I'm really excited to come up here to Hudson Valley this year. It's really close to home for me. I'm only an hour away, so of all good things, and should be a great year.
It would have been pretty cool to see how the fans would have thought, you would have been the enemy last year, and now you're the hero, on how different that would have been. So it would have been cool to see you in the other uniform and in that third base dugout, where now you're going to be in the first base dugout. So when the kids get here and you can officially open up, when is that officially, when they've decontaminated all the major leaguers who are now gone north, and you guys are ready to practice? When does that actually start for you?
We're hoping that will start by the end of the week. So hopefully we'll get on the field, and just I think this year is going to offer just so many new different so many challenges, and just a different spring training than we've ever seen prior. Just probably just smaller group work. Things will just be much different, and things will be more spaced out on the schedule because we have to, because of COVID. So I kind of just looking forward to seeing how everything will play out, and yeah, just getting on the field again will be a lot of fun.
So once you start the season, how weird is it going to be to have 6-game homestands or 6-game road trips against the same team Tuesday through Sunday?
Yeah, that was something that was the first thing when I looked at the schedule, seeing the big change this year with the 6 games. But I think it'll be nice, kind of limiting the travel a little bit. That's something that I think throughout the course of the minor league season, so many bus rides, and I think the season, the schedule being a little bit more regional this year, obviously will make things a little bit better for us. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. But I think I can't see any downside to it. Just playing the same team over and over again. I think and then keep players on both sides of the ball, like trying to win that series, 6-game series. I think will be a lot of fun.
So the Yankees have announced some players that are coming here, and fans have no point of reference because they don't know who any of the kids are. But can you give us a couple of names that fans might want to look for once they get to the Hudson Valley?
I'm not sure exactly who's going to wind up coming. I know the Yankees have announced some, but I know that at the end of spring training, I think things could always change. So I can't, not at liberty to really speak on specific players that are going to be coming, but I know that kind of just like looking roughly at who's subject to come here or to Hudson Valley and be on our team this year, we're gonna have a ton of talent, and I can't wait to get those guys out on the field. And we're gonna put a great product on the field for the fans to see.
Well, it's pretty unique because every year, again, because I become friends with the skippers we've had, and I would always, when they got here and they had a couple of workouts at the stadium, I would go to them. I say, okay, what can we expect? And they would go, oh, this is going to be a long year, or yeah, we can play. We're going to win some games. And every single time one of the guys said that, they were 100% right. I mean, they knew after seeing them, because remember, some of the kids come from extended spring training and some kids move up, but the majority of kids in the New York Penn League are college kids. So they really see them the first time they get together and they work out. And they can tell pretty quickly whether they got some players or not. And they were always right. So I will, since I can't come into the clubhouse like I would every other year, I'll call you on the phone and say, all right, Skipper, thumbs up or thumbs down. I won't tell anybody, but it would be nice to know what I can expect and how we're going to look forward to our season. Let's talk a little bit about, we've talked about your journey. We've talked about you as a manager, your philosophies. You very intelligently didn't give me anything on players, even though the Yankees announced it because you don't want to be wrong. I get that. That's fine. There's one name on the list, and I'm telling everybody, that kid's not coming here. There's no chance that kid is coming here. He's 17 years old. He's not going to go from being 17 to playing high A. It just doesn't work that way. So now Renegades fans are hearing it again. That kid's not coming here this year. I'm sure you know who I'm talking about. At any point during the season, is there the kind of movement in high A that there is in the Penn League, or do guys just get here and stay here and play here for the most part? I know that people may move up or whatever, but does the bulk of the squad stay together?
I would say that's a tough question, but I would say that the bulk of more often than not, the guys stay a little bit more often than they do and extended than the short season team. But there's no telling from year to year, and obviously, we were a different organization in there now. So how the Yankees handle it compared to how the Rays handle it, I'm not sure the difference there. But yeah, I mean, hopefully in our case, hopefully our guys are going up, and going to Double A. But I know that even this year, I think there are just COVID kind of changes things. I think we have a 30-man roster this year compared to 25 or where it usually is in high A. So I think that kind of will limit transactions from team to team. I think that's what minor league baseball is hoping, kind of wanting to do this season because of COVID. So we'll see how it goes, but yeah, time will tell how many moves happen.
So that's 30 guys active at any given time.
I believe so.
Well, that's pretty cool. All right, there's another thing that fans ask me all the time, and they talk about the proximity of Yankee Stadium to our building, and the fact that the Yankees have certain players who are stars who tend to get hurt, and that they're going to end up playing in our building at one point or another. And I said, listen, it's not like the old days. Double A is close and Triple A is close. All the levels are close. It depends on who's where and what their schedules are and what the big league club wants from them. So there's no guarantee just because we're the closest that they're going to come here. But what's it like when one of the big Yankee stars walks into the locker room and he's going to play that night? Again, I won't even pick a position because then people will know who I'm talking about. What's it like when that guy walks in the building?
To be honest, that's something that I haven't experienced as a coach yet. But as a player, I know what it was like playing. I got to, in Trenton, I was able to play with A-Rod, CC Sabathia, some huge name players. And I think the coolest part as a player was that you were able to they were so open to answering any questions and offering help in all the minor league players' careers. So I think that's something that I always love whenever those guys would come down. And then I think like the same thing now as a coach. If one of those players were to ever come, hopefully they do stay healthy and they won't have to come to Hudson Valley. But if they did, obviously it'll be a great experience for the fans, but also for the players, just being able to, ask some questions and learn from them.
Is that tradition real or just wives' tale where let's go with A-Rod because he doesn't play anymore, so I can't get anybody in trouble by saying a guy who does not. When A-Rod comes to the Hudson Valley, that he then pays for the big meal after the game to make sure that he hooks the players up. Is that a real tradition?
Yeah, I was going to say that. That's a real tradition. So that's also really nice. Got to eat really good after some games in which the big league players would come down. They would take unreal care of us and put out a huge spread. So that was a lot of fun.
That's pretty cool. So fans have to understand that there's so many factors that determine whether a player ends up playing in our building or not. And it's not just the fact that we're close to the stadium. It's a factor of, let's make believe it's a pitcher. What do they want the pitcher to work on? And do they just want him to get a first throwing session in? Well, then maybe we make sense rather than send him to AAA where the guys are going to rock him. So it's just a matter of how everything lines up. We may get the opportunity, but it's not destined and it's not guaranteed just because we're next to this or close to the stadium. And I think you've outlined that pretty well, that if it comes, great. If not, that's good too, because the bottom line is a Yankee guy, and it's obvious you're a Yankee guy. You want those guys to stay healthy and stay in the Bronx, because when you look at some of the over-unders and the amount of games that the experts in Las Vegas, they're saying that that's a 103, 105 win team, that it's one of the best teams they've had in years. They're loaded, and I expect them to win a few ball games. And do you watch? First, we'll start this way. I'll get to that. Like guys that you've seen as a coach or as a skipper, do you follow them as they move up the ladder and look at the box scores and see what they're doing? Or do you call their new manager and say, hey, how's this guy doing? Is he making this mistake still? Do you do stuff like that, or you just leave it alone and wait till you get the big league trading card?
No, I definitely stay in touch with the players. I think, like with all players, I think the biggest thing is just trying to create relationships with them. And the only way for that relationship to build is to just stay in touch with them. I think as they move up in their careers, a lot of times some players are great with reaching out to you. So something that I've done in my career, and I think a lot of like you just mentioned, talking to the managers at the higher levels, that's something that us at the Yankees we've always done. So if a player was to go from us to Somerset, I'll call Julio Mosquera, our AA manager, and fill him in on anything the player is going through, things that in his routine that he really likes, or things like objective wise that he's working on, and just a way for us to always stay in touch. And then communication is so important, especially, and that's probably goes for all fields, but especially in baseball. So something that we'll always try and do.
So when they get to, I'm jumping around, so forgive me because it just hit me. When they get to spring training and they learn the Yankee way, it's ingrained in them immediately about hair and facial hair and stuff like that. They know as soon as they get there that it's time to clean up.
Yeah, I think it goes without saying, but I mean, everybody is told that first time, and then yeah, it's just it becomes part of the everyday routine. Shower and shave after the game, and look professional.
And by the way, you've kept your hair very close, very closely cropped. So you have the Yankee look without a doubt. It's not touching your collar. Um, it's unique because whenever you see guys when they leave the Yankees, it seems like the first thing they do is grow a beard and grow their hair out. So once they leave the Yankees, they go nuts for a while. But you know what? I think it's pretty cool. And I don't know why more teams, like some of the, like what I would call the teams of equity, the big teams like the Cubs, the Dodgers, the Red Sox, those types of teams, you think they would have similar rules or similar unwritten rules, because you probably can't actually write that down and say that in this day and age. But I think that the Yankees, I mean, when you take Jason Giambi, who was an absolute surfer dude, and he looked like he was in a biker bar one day, and the next day he's nothing but clean cut, and he is all buttoned up, and he's ready to play baseball as a Yankee. Because guys from the major leagues know, I'm going to the Bronx, I better clean it up. And even though Mr. Steinbrenner's not there anymore, that was a Steinbrenner rule. That wasn't somebody else's rule. So I think it's cool that they've always done that. They maintain it, and they know that as soon as they get into the organization. I think that's a great way for them to do what they do.
Yeah, I've always liked it. I think it's goes along with being a Yankee. I think we do have the off season if we wanted to grow out a little bit of a beard. So we have our little bit of a downtime.
At any point, do you get a call from the Bronx that say, we need X, Y, or Z to do X, Y, or Z? And then, of course, that your job to implement that? Or once you get them, they're all yours and there's not really a whole lot of input, except when the coaches come in, the position guys?
No, I think the input can come at any point. Like you're saying, it can come from the Bronx. It can come from the specific coordinators. Like a hitting coordinator calls and says he wants to see this player doing this a little bit more often. And that's something that we'll obviously implement right away because it's obviously going to be best for the player. So we're going to put that into action right away. And yeah, those calls can come at any time. I think that's one of the jobs, my job as a manager, to get those phone calls and to put that action into play right away, and then talk to my coaching staff, who will then pass that information to the players.
And once again, we'll remind fans, if you're watching this, because we got about another 10 minutes or so to go here, that if you have a question, just put it in the Facebook posting and then I'll get it. Because Skipper, if you don't mind, I'm going to hit a couple of questions now, because the people are very excited that you're coming here, and that's cool. I have Roy, who said, I remember seeing you play in Trenton, and I can't wait to see you in Hudson Valley. The best of luck. So you got someone who saw you as a player, who lives here, and is going to come as a fan to see you be the skipper.
Roy, I appreciate that. Yeah, I can't wait. That's awesome. And then hopefully I get to meet you at a game. I know it's going to be tough this year with all of our protocols and whatnot, but it's going to be a lot of fun. I can't wait. Can't wait to get going.
Yeah, and just so the fans understand that any of the protocols that are in place, they're in place by entities, Major League Baseball and the governor of New York. And it's not something that's negotiable. It's not something that we can let slide. We're going to have to remind fans that they have to have a mask on at all time. They're going to be sitting in pods. It has to be socially distant. They can't, nobody can go on the dugout. None of us can go on the field. Like we always did our pregame on the field, first pitches, national anthem. There was always integration between you and me and players. None of that's going to happen this year. And fans can't stand along the rails anymore and get autographs. I mean, that's going to suck for kids. And I know at high A, players probably they don't mind doing autographs at this level. But it's going to be very different. So it's going to be tough for fans to meet you. It's going to be tough for fans to meet the shortstop, because they can't go down by the clubhouse either, because it used to be that they would go to the clubhouse area, and when guys would leave the clubhouse, they would get autographs. They can't do that this year. So it's going to be very different. Fans, you got to know that when you're coming to the ballpark, it's not going to be business as usual. And it's not because the manager is mean and he's strict. It's not because we don't want you to have the experience. It's because Major League Baseball has protocols that are being set in place that make sense to protect the players. And guess what? For fans who don't understand it, the players are assets. These guys are assets. The Yankees invest a lot of money in every single one of these players. They don't want them to take a chance on getting sick, because you guys are kind of in a semi-bubble. They're all going to live together, whatever hotel you end up in. They're going to be at the ballpark for early work. They're going to go to, I assume they're going to go to Gold's, and they're going to work out like they always have. They're going to come to the ballpark and eat. So they're going to be in a semi bubble, but you don't know where Tim from Beacon has, so you can't interact with those guys this year.
Yeah, I think to go along with what you're saying, I think from our standpoint and our team, I think we're going to be it's going to be just as upsetting for us. Just the fact that, we love that interaction with the fans and being able to talk to the kids or sign baseballs for them and whatnot. And the fact that we won't be able to do it this year is tough. But I think nonetheless, just being out there and seeing each other, I think we'll go a long way this year.
Joe Donnelly asked a pretty good question. He goes, since you grew up being a Yankee fan, what was the best moment you had as a fan at a Yankee game?
As a fan, I would say probably Jeter's last game, that walk-off base hit to right field. That was
You were there?
Yeah, I was there. I was sitting by the right field foul pole, but yeah, I got a great video of it too, and it was that was a surreal night. That was unreal. So I had a blast that night, and yeah, a ton of other games, just like random playoff games where the feels like the stadium was shaking over there. A lot of fun.
Yeah, it's really weird because I posted that Major League Baseball has a highlight, about 9 minutes of that at bat. And I remember watching it at home and I'm going, man, he could end up coming up in the 9th inning. If this, or this happens, he could end up coming up. Then he comes up, the guy's on second base, and first pitch, his typical Derek Jeter inside out to right field single. The guy they put into pinch run, I think that was his only career scored run in the big leagues, but it's a pretty big one. And Jeter, when the bright light is on, he always found a way to get it done. And is there a better guy to represent the organization than number 2?
Yeah, he was growing up as a kid. Jeter was always he's an idol for me. So being able to actually play with him a little bit in the minor leagues, just when he was rehabbing at the complex, that was a moment that meant a ton to me at the time. And being able to be at the last game and see that, and like you said, the way things lined up, everyone said the baseball gods, someone's like watching over, like how does that happen like that? And that hit, the stadium was nuts.
And he had 2 other hits that night too. He had a double and a single, right?
I think so. I don't remember earlier in the game, but yeah, I remember the end. I think the player who scored, I actually played with him earlier that year in Scranton, and I think Jose Purell, another teammate, was the one who got on base to start that whole thing off. So it was a unreal night at the stadium.
And then he did it in Boston too. His last game up there, he had a couple of hits. I mean, he just knew when the light was on and how to shine. I'm not sure I understand. Oh, here, I just want to remind all the fans that are watching, keep in mind that with COVID, obviously, we're reducing the amount of fans that we can have in a building because it's going to be socially distant. Fans are going to sit in pods of 2s and 4s and 5s, and then we're going to have these really cool cutouts. And if you want to buy a cutout of you or your uncle or your grandfather, and they could be at every game, they could have their own little spot there. You just got to call the Renegades, and you can find out how we can do that. But keep in mind that as of today at 10, that single game tickets went on sale for the whole season. So that means that even though there's a limited amount of seats, right now they're on sale. So if you want to come to ball games this summer, now's the time to call the Renegades at 845-838-0094 and make sure that you get an opportunity to get some game tickets so you can see our brand new skipper and the baby Bombers and what they're going to try to accomplish this year. Now, here's me. I'm kind of goofy, in case you can't tell, but I looked at your coaching staff, and I've been told that you have a pretty good sense of humor. And I'm hoping that's the case because you have a young lady on your staff. And what's her last name?
Brady.
We may be calling you guys the Brady Bunch and do an intro film with, you in the middle and everybody around the outsides and rewrite the song of the Brady Bunch to reflect you guys. Are you okay with that?
Yeah, that'll work.
Yeah, I figured, because everybody said, oh, yeah, he's got a good sense of humor. He'll love that. Because as soon as we saw the coaches, it's like, oh my God, the Brady Bunch. So I think it's pretty cool that you have a lady and she's going to be an integral part of your staff. Why don't you tell the folks about your staff and what they're going to do and how they're going to help you accomplish what you need to accomplish.
So yeah, we'll start off. Amanda Brady, yeah, she's going to be our analyst, and someone I'm going to lean on a lot. So earlier in our talk, we talked about getting so much information in the analytics. She's going to be someone going through all those numbers on a day-to-day basis, and she's going to come to me with information. I want to go with her with questions, and the players are going to do the same. And it's just going to be basically just a ton of communication between all of us. Our defensive coach, catching coach, is going to wear a lot of hats. Will be Aaron Bossy. Bossy is someone who I actually briefly coached in spring training, but great friend. He's just super knowledgeable. He's going to be dealing with a lot of catching. I'd say like just a little bit of everything, base running, bunting. He'll help me out in all regards there. Jake Hurst is going to be our hitting coach. Jake was actually in rookie ball 2 years ago. He was on the GCL Yankees West team where I coached on the GCL Yankees East. So he was out position for a year in rookie ball, but it'd be nice to have him, awesome to have him on my staff this year. And then Gerardo Casadiego will be our pitching coach. So Casadiego, I coached with him in Pulaski. I want to say it was 2017. And Casadiego, he played 10 years in the minor leagues with several different teams. He's been coaching with the Yankees, I want to say, since 2014. So this is someone who has a ton of experience. And yeah, I'm gonna learn a ton from him on the pitching side, and we're gonna be able to bounce things off of each other. And I'm really excited to have him by my side for this season. And then as far as Matt Selesky will be our clubhouse manager. He'll take us through. He does everything for us as far as food, laundry, helping out with travel stuff, and also doing the travel stuff will be Mike Triller, and he's our video manager. And I think what the video department does for us is so important, and the time that they put in cutting up clips and going through everything after the game is invaluable for the kids' progress. And like you said, as far as like with the tech and all the objective feedback it gives the players, just being able for them to see the videos of all their at-bats and all their pitches throughout the game from so many different angles, you can imagine all the time he puts in on that from that standpoint. And
Well, I can tell you, being around the game for a long time, the toughest job of all the people you just mentioned is the poor clubby. That guy, those guys work themselves to death, and they really have to love what they're doing, because that is, I think, the toughest job in all of baseball.
yeah, they go through so much. They put in. They're the first ones to the field. They're the last ones out, making sure everything is right for player commodities throughout the season. And Matt's actually his older brother was my clubby in Charleston years ago, and the both of them, they work so hard, and it means a ton to us as coaches to have them by our side throughout the season.
Our first question that we got, and folks, it's going to be your last call. If you want to ask a question, you got to get us in the comments right now. Aaron Wolf wants to know, what do you like to do in your spare time?
So I just started picking up golf. Last year I started playing golf. That's been fun. I love to fish. Yeah, and then I watch a lot of baseball. So I'll go.
Yonkers boy fishing.
Yeah, I know. I didn't fish a lot as a kid, but not too many places around Yonkers. But I got into it in Tampa. Saltwater fishing's been fun. And then my wife, actually, she's from Syracuse, and there's a lot of good creek fishing up there. So I've been trying to catch some trout when I go up there. And yeah, fishing, golf, and I guess baseball. But I love just being outdoors.
And it was going to be my next question. You kind of answered for you. What's your family situation, so the fans understand what the Fiorito household is all about?
So I've been married for a few years now. My wife Elizabeth, we live in Yonkers together. She'll be coming up for a lot of games, so that'll be nice to be close to her. I think that's the toughest part about being in professional sports, is being far from home for so often. I'm down in Tampa right now it's only going to be a month, and then to be able to come back home and be near my family is going to be awesome this year. So I'm really looking forward to that. And yeah, we have no kids yet, but yeah, everything's going good. Family's doing well, and everybody's in Yonkers. Aunts, uncles, cousins, grandparents. So it's been good.
A big Italian family?
Big Italian family, yeah. Loud. You're gonna hear them at the games.
So when they come up to visit, hopefully they're bringing some cannolis?
Yeah, you'll get cannolis for sure.
Atta boy. That's what I want to hear. So Skipper, listen, it was great to catch up with you, to get a couple of minutes. I appreciate your time. I hope you enjoy meeting all the guys, getting out on the field, and putting the pieces together for when you get up to see us. The fans are really excited. There's a lot of buzz, more buzz than we've been used to for that opening night. And we can't wait to see you, and we can't wait to get this season going. And it's so excited to have this logo now, because there are bears in Canada that wear a Yankee cap. I mean, it's just amazing. It's all over the planet. And the Yankees are tradition. The Yankees are one of the pillars of Major League Baseball, and now we're a part of that family, and you're bringing it to us. So I appreciate it. Is there anything you want to say on the way out, so you get the final word?
No, Rick, thanks so much. But can't wait to come up to the Dutch. Can't wait to meet all the fans, and should be an awesome year. Can't wait to have some baseball back.
All right, folks, there you heard it from our new skipper. We're glad you spent some time with us. I'm pretty sure that this is going to be rebroadcast on YouTube. We have some amazing tech people that we've never had before. Zach is going to cut it up and make us all look really good. Opening night is May 11th. Make sure that the tickets that you can get, they're available now. Call the office at 845-838-0094. And again, if you got somebody in your family and you want to see them in pictures sitting at a Renegades game every single game this year, it's $1 a game. For $60, you can put someone you love, or maybe you want to put Theodore Roosevelt in a seat. Whatever it is, the cardboard cutouts are going to entertain the coaching staff. They're going to look to see what kind of wacky people we have here in Hudson Valley, because I get 2 free ones, and I'm going to put somebody really obscure and bizarre with my 2. So, folks, we're glad you joined us. We can't wait to see you. May 11th is going to come a lot sooner than you think. So, about the Renegades, thank you very much, everybody. Good night and be safe. I'm the Zoles. I'm signing off.